All right, folks, for this next problem, they said a doctor prescribed a 12% hydrocortisone cream. There are 15% and 1% solutions available in the pharmacy. How much of the 15% cream will we need to make 150 milligrams of product? So for this one, you do technically have everything you would need to go ahead and draw out an allegation grid. 150 milligrams you set aside as your final quantity, right? Often it would be volume if we were dealing with a liquid. In this case, it is a solid. 150 milligrams is the final desired quantity. We're going to set that aside. If we do our allegation grid, we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up with 12% in the middle as the bullseye, the target, 15% is the higher strength, 1% is the lower strength. That's if you have the luxury of time. If you have budgeted out a couple of minutes to solve an allegation grid, get the proportion, turn it into a percentage, and then multiply times the 150 milligrams final quantity to find out how much of each of the 15 and the 1%, great. In this case, they're only asking how much of the 15%. Great. That's still a few minutes worth of work that you need to solve out the allegation grid. You can look at this and just kind of eyeball it, and you can figure it out right away just using quick logic and a calculator. Okay, so how much of the 15% cream will we need for 150 milligrams? Well, they're giving you a limited number of options, right? It's multiple choice. There's 4 possibilities here. So if you just grab one, look at it, start with number 3. I'm just going to give you the correct answer. Like in the last video, we saved the correct answer for last. We're just going to jump right to it. I'll show you why option C, third option here, is the correct answer. So 118 milligrams, right? It's 15% cream. So express that as a decimal, 118 times 0.15. Okay, so remember this. In this hypothetical, right, where we choose answer C, where we use 118 milligrams of the 15% cream, this is how much of that cream, how much of that 118 milligrams, 15% of it, this is how much is drug. This is how much is hydrocortisone, 17.7 milligrams. Remember that, 17.7, right, so jot that down. 17.7 milligrams is how much drug would be in 118 milligrams of the 15%. How much hydrocortisone is in that amount of the cream of that strength. Okay, now what we want to get to, we know. We want to get to 150 milligrams of 12%, because it says that right there in the problem. We're getting to this quantity, to this strength. So where we want to be at, when all is said and done, we want to be at a point where there's 150 milligrams of cream, 12% of that is hydrocortisone. So 12% expressed as a decimal. We want there to be 18 milligrams of drug in the final version, in the final form of this cream, after everything is mixed together. 18 milligrams. What did we say we had in 118 milligrams of the 15% again? We had 17.7. It's pretty darn close. So that doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room for whatever else we're adding to that 118 milligrams to get up to the 150. You know, it needs to work out to be about 0.3%. But remember, it's a 1% solution. So hey, maybe that will work out. So how do we figure that out? Do 150, the total, right, that we're going to have at the end, minus that 118 that we're hypothetically using, if we go with option C, it's 32. So 32 milligrams of the weaker cream, of the lower strength, of the 1%. And then exactly how many milligrams of drug does that give us? So 32 milligrams of the weaker cream, the lower strength, the 1%. So take that 1% expressed as a decimal, 0.01. So there's 0.32 milligrams of drug, of hydrocortisone, in that amount, in 32 milligrams of the lower strength, of the weaker 1% solution. So what happens if we add that back onto our, what was it, 17.7? 18.02. I mean, that's pretty close. Like we can say that's just about 18 milligrams of drug. which is what we wanted to have in the 150. So this just about works out. It's not exact. We're going out to the 100th place here after the decimal point. It is pretty darn close. So what we then do is we say, okay, we're not entirely sure we trust that. It's very, very, very close. So let's look at the next closest answer here. So in the multiple choice answers, the only other one that's even close to that is 120. So let's quickly do 120. 120 milligrams. If we use, remember that all these answers are talking about how much of the 15% cream we're using. So if hypothetically we were to use 120 milligrams and 15% of that was hydrocortisone, oops, 18. That's already 18 milligrams of hydrocortisone. So if we're adding another 30 milligrams of the 1%, we're going to be quite a bit over that by more than just 0.02. All right, so 120 ain't it. It's like blackjack. It's closest without going over or without going more than, more than a very small amount over, like out to the 100th place. This would be more in the neighborhood of a third of a gram. Okay, so 120 is wrong. 118, in a perfect world, we want to have on the nose 18 milligrams of drug and 150 milligrams of finished mixed cream. But 18.02 is about as close as we're going to get. So 118 is the best answer. Because we checked the next closest one, 120, and it was just really too much. 129 is even higher. That's way too high. And 32, we're not even taking that answer seriously because that's way, way, way too low. 118 was close. It wasn't precise, but it's the closest. It is the most precise answer. That's the one you would pick on a test.